Hello and welcome everybody. It is Thursday, May 16th. This year is flying by. We were just talking about it. I'm really excited to have you all here today. Welcome to the AV Exchange presented by Starin. I am your host, Joe Dunbar. Today we have LG in the house, which I'm I'm always excited about it, but LG is pretty near and dear to my heart. I've been dealing with LG displays for, 15 plus years now at this point. Well versed in their lineup, and I love the product set. So I'm very excited to talk with all you guys about it. If you've been with us before, you kind of know how this goes, but I'm going to give you a rundown real quick. First, we'll look at the agenda. We're going to dive into some government and EDU kind of topics because the team that we have with us, that's kind of their focus and specialty. We're going to talk about digital signage, direct view LED, LG projectors, which is, I don't want to say a new one for me, but, newer. I'm not as versed with those as I am with, say, the direct view LED walls and the LCD panels and those types of things. So we'll be looking forward to learning a bit about those, as well as the Create board, which I think I am a little more versed in because we do quite a bit of those. So if you've been with us before, I say you know how this goes, but let's cover it anyway. We do have some housekeeping items to look at before we jump into things. Please use the Q&A for questions. I've got a couple of screens going on so we can keep an eye on the questions. It helps us keep them organized and make sure we get your questions answered either live in the chat or if necessary with a follow-up. Chat for comments. I always love to hear where everybody's calling in from. If you've been with us before, you know this is not my regular setting. Shout out to the team at iSpace in Minneapolis, Minnesota for allowing me to host this in their beautiful office. And if you're ever in the Twin Cities, certainly do hit them up and join in. I actually didn't load any polls, so that's a miscue. We can ignore that one. But as always, we'd like to thank you for your time. So we're going to do a raffle at the end for a $50 Amazon gift card. So please do stick around for that. Make sure you stick around to the end so you can see if you won that or not. Before we introduce the team from LG, I am going to run a quick video for you. Just a little tease, mostly from last year's InfoComm, because we were talking about this year's InfoComm. And so just rolling right. All right, so we've got Sarah Williamson and Kerry Martin. Thanks so much for joining us. We just got a little teaser, or I should say recap from last year's InfoComm. Has me so excited for this year's InfoComm. I can't wait to see what's going to be new and on display. I know the LG booth is always, on and popping. So thanks so much for joining us here on the AV Exchange. Let's just grab a second. If you can both introduce yourselves, tell us, where you're based out of, what your kind of role is at LG before we jump into things. Sarah, if we could kick it off with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Joe, and welcome. I'm so excited to be able to talk to your partner community today. My name is Sarah Williamson. I manage the relationship between LG and Starin. We love working with Starin, one of our favorite partners. They're nimble, they're flexible. So for customers who have some out-of-the-box solutions that they're looking for, they're kind of a go-to partner for LG. So thank you for that. Super excited for InfoComm as we're coming up. And as you mentioned, we really pride ourselves on innovation, as you saw in the video. And I am personally really excited for this year's InfoComm because LG always tries to do bigger and better. And I was there last year and it was pretty spectacular. So for anybody that's going to be out there in Vegas, I would encourage them to stop on by.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you there. I appreciate it. And Kerry Linda Martin, if you can go ahead and just introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I'm Kerry Linda Martin. I am an account manager here at LG Electronics. I get to cover government and education for the Southeast. Excited to share. InfoComm last year was my first time there, and I'd never seen a 10,000 square foot booth. But that was pretty phenomenal. So hopefully this year InfoComm Vegas is even more gangbuster. But
it's a big booth. I mean, you got to fit all those screens in there is really, the ticket, and you need space for that, right? I'm really excited about it. Where did I miss it? Where are you all based out of?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm out of Florida. I'm actually near Daytona Beach. The picture, the background is actually a sunset from St. Pete Beach. So.
And I am in Milton, Georgia.
Sorry about that. We were talking earlier how we all wanted to go to the beach as soon as Kerry Linda pulled up her background. So, and you said, Sarah, I'm sorry,
I'm in sunny Milton, Georgia. So about 40 miles north of the airport, down there in Atlanta.
The Atlanta region. Fantastic. We've got people checking in from the chat all over. I saw LA, I saw Baltimore, there's somebody in Texas. Like I said, I'm in the Twin Cities today. So all of us putting the remote hybrid flex work, situation to use, and I love it. So why don't we dive in a little bit? I know we've got some screen share going. I'm going to switch over to it. I promise. Here we go. And I'll let you guys kind of take it off. And folks, like I say, put your questions in the chat and we'll dump them in as we get going here.
Sure. So thank you, Joe. So LG, a lot of people think that LG actually stands for Life's Good, but it does go back to our roots. So almost 80 years ago, with two different companies that merged together to create LG. But from marketing's perspective, we're talking about creating a better life for all and, helping schools and government agencies and all types of different customers, really just kind of envision, what is it that they really want? How do we help them create a better environment? So that's kind of our little tagline, if you will, and kind of our mission statement right now in regards to our group here. I'm going to hand it over to Sarah. Sarah, I think you were going to chat a little bit about just some of the cool programs and stuff that we have going on right now let's see if I can actually.
Absolutely.
Oh. Hopefully.
No, so I just wanted to quickly cover and remind everyone that on an ongoing basis, LG does a great job of offering instant rebates and reseller spiffs on pretty much all of our products. We were going to put some flyers up here, but it is literally pretty much every product. So it would have been an eye chart. But please know that those are available and loaded in their system. Another great resource available to you is Carol Mathis. She is a rock star. She is, very dedicated to supporting the LG relationship within Starin. So she knows our organization as if she works for LG, and she's fantastic at getting quick answers, turning special pricing requests around very quickly. So we have the added bonus again of Carol and team. And then I had mentioned earlier, that we do pride ourselves on innovation. And I think everybody thinks of LG as, when they think LG, if I'm at a show, they'll say, oh, I have an LG TV or I have an LG fridge. The breadth of our product is so far beyond the typical digital signage. And I think that one of the main takeaways from today's presentation that you'll all enjoy from Kerry Linda is the breadth of product, and you're probably going to walk away saying, wow, I didn't know they had 80 laptop SKUs, or, like Joe mentioned, projectors. So things you just don't think about are available to you through Starin. So if you have any questions or if you need follow-up, please let any of us know. We're happy to do that. And then finally, our LG Pro program, if you're not signed up today, it literally takes about 30 seconds. We have a QR code. I don't know if we're going to share it now or at the end of the presentation. But if you scan that QR code, it'll take you right in there. And that's a repository for all kinds of product and promotion information. You can claim your spiffs on that website. You can request special pricing on the website, get white papers, literature, and depending upon your purchases of LG collectively through the channel, because we know we want you to purchase through Starin, but we know you have multiple credit lines. LG does combine all your purchases, and you will earn specific levels of marketing development funds. So please join up for that program. It's free to join, and I would encourage you to do that. You'll have plenty of resources available to you. So with that, I will turn it over to Carrie Linda. And like I said, if you have any questions, just let us know. Take it away.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so I think that QR code is up there on the screen now, Joe, right? So go ahead and if your phone allows you to grab that QR code, that'll take you to where Sarah was just talking about, just kind of, get that information going for working more closely with LG. As Sarah mentioned, LG does a lot of different things. Again, we've been around for about 80 years. Our little division is just part of the organization. I think we have 71 different companies. We do have an international footprint, multiple locations here in the United States. So just kind of some different things. But really, here's kind of a snapshot of what I'm going to be talking about. Sarah mentioned, laptops. I didn't know we had laptops until I was going through the interview process. And so I was very delighted when I got my first laptop. It's a 16-inch. I carry it in my backpack and I forget that I even have it. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the different computers and some of the responses and stuff. Information displays is a big part of what we do here. Some robot solutions, which are a relatively new part of our lineup. Air conditioning. Actually, I do work very closely with my air conditioning colleagues. We've got several schools that have started saving a lot of money with chillers and coolers and that kind of thing. I'm not going to dive too far into that, but that is definitely something that we can bring along. And then EV charging stations. So that's brand new to LG. We've only been doing that for like a year and a half. We actually have a Dallas production facility. I've got a colleague down here in Florida that also is working with me with EV charging stations for government and education as that continues to, business continues to evolve.
You guys were not kidding. Robot solutions, air conditioning and HVAC systems. We all know about a lot of the consumer stuff, washers, dryers, refrigerators. I mean, it is a giant catalog of products. The laptops, I hadn't even thought of that one. We did get a couple of folks who already hit up and joined and scanned their QR code and got a hold of LG Pro. And double shout out to Carol, who's getting them helping them get signed up. So.
Awesome. Yes. And speaking of Carol, I mean, again, super responsive, very easy to work with. We've had, a question here or there about, an invoice or a PO or whatever. She is so awesome to work with from the manufacturer side. And so I'll end up looping her into some different opportunities because she is just really, really fantastic to work with. So.
Yeah, and Carol is also located. She's DirectView LED certified by LG as well. So Carol is she's coming from an engineer. Carol is up on her stuff on the tech side as well. So we love having her as a resource to help kind of join us with LG for sure.
And that's quite an accomplishment, by the way. If there are any engineers out there that do want to get DVLED certified, we can get you some more details on that. So.
I've gone through that myself. If you're looking at doing DirectView LED stuff, definitely take the time to do that. But yeah.
There we go. So as Simon Sinek talks about, start with why, right? So here at LG, we're going to talk a little bit about why. Why do we actually want to pop up, different displays and that kind of thing? And again, a bulk of the conversation here is going to be about displays. A lot of the slide deck is actually kind of geared towards education. Filter in whatever company or government agency that you might be working with. So when I say classroom, think training room. When I say, hey, you got, the gyms, think rec center. Or, I've actually been to some different gyms that are, connected with large companies that they actually need displays in there too. So, those types of things. So as I kind of, say that when education focused, please, just, kind of translate that to the customer that you're working with. But Simon Sinek says, start with why. Why do you actually want to share anything, right? And so the different stakeholders that are looking at the content, they have different purposes. They want to know what information am I going to get from this? What information can I share with this? From an IT perspective, how do I actually manage, how do I create some standardization and make sure that the information is going the right way? We're in compliance with everything that we need to be in compliance with. And then from an administrator or CEO type perspective, they want to have, one way to communicate with people. They want to make sure that people are actually connected. They want to look at some different, content across their environment and really understand what's going on. And they want to make sure that everybody that's getting the information is super happy with that. So that's kind of when we think about, start with why. And I don't know why that actually went over there. Hang on, excuse me 1 second. Let me go back to where. I have completely lost where I was supposed to be on this slide deck. Well, that threw me for a loop. One moment. Can we? Joe's on mute or something.
Oh, definitely. Like a fool. Classic. We had this happen
Unshare.
in a
Let me
training.
go back to where I was. I am so sorry.
That's all right. We had this happen in a training yesterday. We had about 50 people in a room and like 150 people on the other end of a call. And the slide deck got lost and then froze. It's no problem at all. We all know what that's like.
I just want to go down one. There we go. Yay, we're down one. Okay. I think I'm back. Sorry.
That's all right. We're here. That's the best part about being live is you get to be part of it.
Right? There you go. So we talk about start with why again, why we want the information, who wants the information, what are we trying to share, but then where are we trying to share that, right? So whether it's across what is whether it's across campus gates and lobbies when they're first walking in, or if it's actually in the classroom or training room, it's in the hallways. Is this a school, a library, a city hall, anything along those lines? A lot of different outdoor signs are being used, and I've got a lot of opportunities now that I'm working on and that my colleagues are working on across the country, with the outdoor signage, and whether it's an LCD, it's something that you see there simple, or even a transparent film, LED film that we can actually put on the inside of glass to face outside. A couple of different ways to make that work. I've seen some really cool video walls that are kind of on the inside of a building, but with the really big glass, you can see it from the street. So, what are we trying to communicate outdoors, right? And so then we look at, then in the lobbies, once we get inside the building, what needs to happen, right? Maybe there's some wayfinding type displays. Frankly, every time I'm on a high school campus, I have no idea how these kids go between classes in 10 minutes or whatever it is and get from this side of the campus to that, and figure out where they need to be with all the kids running around. And, wayfinding actually kind of helps me because I'm not there very often. Somehow the kids figure it out within a couple of days. But, wayfinding can be very beneficial. We see a lot of displays getting popped up into cafeterias, especially now. With organizations with software that really helps with showing what the display or what the menu is today, so the kids can kind of have a better idea. And then in the auditoriums, again, thinking about it from just the large gathering spaces and who's coming together, what information are they wanting to see? Maybe it's just the cool play. Maybe sometimes it's actually more of an emergency type situation that they need to gather for. So whatever that kind of space is, again, looking at it from what's the content, where does this need to go, and these are some different spaces that we're seeing.
I'm sorry, Carrie Linda. I used an LG touchboard they have it in this office building, so I could find my way to where I was going. So a lot of us have, I'm sure, interacted with these and maybe not even known it, right?
Yeah. We see them at malls. We see them again at schools. We're starting to see them more and more at different office buildings and stuff like that. And depending upon what software that you kind of integrate with that, you can do something simple that just basically I walk up, touch here and check whatever office that I need to go to, or sometimes it'll print out a map, or there's some different ways to actually make that happen. So I'm glad that worked for you, Joe.
Yeah.
That is a cool space that you're sitting in there, by the way. I like that.
I don't want to I've been on 2 calls this morning and I keep saying, these folks, in addition to being an integrator, are a furniture vendor, and you can tell It's very beautiful space. But yeah, there's LG touch panels throughout the building that are all the directory, wayfinding, displays, and not just displays. I mean, they're interactive, so the interactive displays.
Yeah. We're starting to see some of that fancy stuff come into the K-12 and government spaces now as well, right? And again, I just mostly focus on or speak, I guess, in K-12 and government. So when I see the corporate stuff going on, I'm like, oh, how do I use that in a school? Speaking about collaboration, right? So, we do integrate with almost every other, type collaboration platform that you might see out there. So we've got a lot of partnerships with Crestron and Cisco, Extron, Kramer, etc. We do a lot with Logitech, Poly. But on the collaboration space, if you're looking at just setting up maybe a flexible classroom, our interactive boards, which is called the LG Create board, and I'll dive into it a little bit more, but that's a fantastic solution for K-12, high ed. We've got Georgetown University and a couple of other really cool universities that are using LG Create board. We've got, a lot of different government agencies that are using this. And then of course, on the commercial space, like you said, Joe, so whether it's, an interactive kind of like a collaboration share device or, the wayfinding, definitely a lot of corporate are starting to use this. What we're finding too is that as a generation of people that have always been in the classrooms with digital displays move into corporate environments, there's a big demand from HR and the training, excuse me, and the training departments to actually kind of live up to that and to be able to provide the right type of technology. In addition, with the great mass exodus of teachers, unfortunately, there's a teacher shortage kind of throughout the country, and a lot of teachers they're teachers at heart, but they want to teach maybe the adult learners, for example, and as that is happening, again, they want the same type of tool. So a couple of different things are kind of dragging the classroom technology into the corporate space or into the government space. We do a lot with small classrooms, and then huddle spaces has just been huge, whether it's in private libraries or, school district libraries, where they're starting to convert those into huddle spaces, esports rooms, those types of things that are a lot more fun, a lot more interactive, but also give the opportunity to really just collaborate and figure out how do we work on stuff together.
We do have, I want to shout out always, right? Tim Duncan had a question for us, and Tim asks, in regards to government opportunities, does LG have TAA certified displays?
Great question, Tim. Thank you for asking. And absolutely, we do. So we have a lot of TAA compliant displays, both large and small, even some more DV LED stuff that we'll talk about is TAA compliant as well, especially important for the command centers. And then also TAA compliant monitors, and pretty much across our platform, you'll find something that is TAA compliant. And we have some different ways, and I can send you some different information on that as needed. So.
Can I tag on to Tim's question with a little bit of my own? Are they so it's not a situation where like all of them are just TA certified because of where they're manufactured. There are particular SKUs for the TA certified models. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we do have a large part of our portfolio again that is TA compliant because we're a Korean company. So a lot of manufacturing is done in Korea or Mexico or a couple of other locations. However, there is some of the products that do are not TA compliant.
Okay, got it. Thanks for the answer. Shout out, Tim. Great question.
Yep. Cool. Moving into like kind of the large format spaces, again, thinking about the large lecture halls and theaters. Actually, I got to do a really cool theater up in the north side of Atlanta, where we put a 163 all-in-one, and I walked into this performing arts center, and it was like walking into Shriner Auditorium or something. I mean, it was really, really cool. But it actually looks like that theater. It's kind of what the theater looks like. It was not that large of a screen, by the way, but it kind of gives you an idea of what that room looked like. So we're definitely seeing a lot of large format across different environments, and again, just a lot of different ways to use different technologies as needed. Part of what I do is I help customers understand why where we want this, and then what are we looking to show. So thinking about the competitive space, so we do both indoor and outdoor scoreboards and video walls as well that might just ride along with a scoreboard. So I have a number of different schools that have shared with me that they just recently purchased their digital scoreboard, but now they want a video wall that goes along with it. Esports is a huge space, and that is just growing like crazy in all different levels, both at the professional level, of course, colleges, and then K-12.
Yeah.
We're starting to see elementary esports programs pop up now. So
If my mother only knew where we were going to be, 30 years ago, I feel like I missed my opportunity, but that's all right.
Could have been a pro, right?
That's right. I like to think so.
So that's really fun. There's a private school actually not too far from me I like to brag on a lot, and they basically have created a really cool in a classroom, but it's a really neat theater esports lab where they can do 3 versus 3 or 2 versus 2, and it's really neat just to see what you can actually use, how small of a space that you can use and turn this into just something really dynamic. And again, they're a private school, so they use it as an outreach program as well. And so it's kind of fun.
How it sounds like not that I want to dwell on this one too much, but I'm just curious, like, what's the size of that kind of? I mean, it sounds like sort of a multi-purpose space that they're able to utilize for a few different functions. What size space is that? Do you remember?
It's a classroom.
Okay.
Classroom. I want to say it's probably 15 feet by maybe 40 foot deep or something, but you can have about 30 people in the audience.
I asked because I assumed it didn't sound like a huge room, and I think that's just an important note for all our integration partners out in the audience today, is to just remember, to get into these verticals, especially, we're talking about like esports and things like that. It doesn't have to be a giant arena, right, or a huge undertaking, especially at like a K through 12 level where budgets are lower and money's a little tighter, but you can still do it. That's a great example. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, again, it goes back to starts with why, right? Why do we want to do that? I'm working with a public library, and they're creating an esports program, and they're just turning a little area that used to be, filled with one particular type of books, and they're moving that over. They're creating an esports. They've got some different sound and whatever, and that's part of the thing too. Is as you look at any of these types of scenarios, keep in mind LG is just a small piece of the pie, right? So yeah, we've got really cool displays, but if you don't have sound, if you don't have the furniture, if you don't have all the other things that need the peripherals, everything that needs to go along with it, and you don't put it together with a really cohesive kind of game plan, it won't work. And so I feel like at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're working together with everything. STEM labs, STEAM labs, CT, we call it CTE here in Florida, and then VOTEC, whatever you want to call it, but career and technical education. So those types of things. I look at this picture from marketing, and those kids must be really good because they got 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and somehow those little kids have scored 102 points. So I'm not sure that's how many times they dribbled, but.
It's competitive. It's really competitive these days. I think the energy has really amped up. While we're on the topic, we got an awesome question from Sean, and I'm just going to drop it in because I couldn't even get to the typing it in time. But Sean was asking, do you know? I'm not even sure if you'll know this because LG is a huge company, and I'm sure it's another department doing the planning. Do you know if there's going to be any kind of attention or focus on esports at the booth this year? Any like a station calling that out or showing any of those products?
At Infocom you're talking about? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, Infocom.
That I've heard of.
Okay. I know Sean.
However, that has been, and I do know that what I call our key coach or whatever, right? So our esports guy is actually going to Infocom. So
okay, good to know. And I know, like I said, LG being a huge company. I mean, I'm sure the people planning Infocom are in a different space. In another part of the world or country or whatever it might be, focusing on that. So I sure am excited to see the booth there. But I think probably an important note to make is like, a lot of these products are applicable there, certainly the DV LED stuff and especially the large format displays and digital signage and things like that. So those products maybe not shown specifically in an esports setting, are certainly transferable.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it goes back to you could take a widget and you can make it do 50 different things. It really just depends. Just to dive a little bit more into the actual product lineup. So DV LED, I know you were talking about that earlier, Joe. So yeah, we do have a certification program with DV LED. If you would like to go down that phase, we can. We do have, everything from our top of the line magnet, indoor and outdoor options. But the LG, the all-in-one, the DV LED all-in-one, which that is actually like our number one seller, quite frankly. We sell a lot of that. And the reason is because it's easy to order, it's easy to ship, it's easy to install, and it basically works like a giant TV. So it's 100, the main one that we sell is 136 inch or 163 inch. We have a new 171 inch that just came out, great for collaboration spaces because it's got that native 21:9 native aspect ratio, which Teams
Awesome.
requires. Teams or Zoom, right? So comes with everything that you need, basically in one giant travel case. You get to keep the case, figure out what you want to do with it. I've seen band gear and Christmas props go into it. So, but again, it's a really cool display. It's easy to set up, super easy. Like I usually am on teams where we can do it in a couple of hours versus a couple of days, which some of the other DV LED solutions do require. 2 power cords, one mount. It's super easy. I've done some of the dual environments as well in some of my schools where they'll do 2 of the 136 inch side by side. And we do have a really cool kit now that actually blends that together because the first one of those that I did in Orlando had just 2 screens side by side, but the bezel that you see is like thinner than my finger. It was actually really cool. Like you barely see it. But then we found a way to remove that one of those sides and be able to stack that. And we can go up to 2 high and 8 wide if you would like to. So it's pretty cool. It's expanding this particular product, and works just like a giant TV, like I said.
That's
A lot of really
honestly the best way to put it. We have a bunch of customers that, they are frequent flyers in the direct view LED world. So they know what they're doing. They're educated. They are skilled technicians, these types of folks, and they still gravitate towards the all-in-one solutions, as often as makes sense for them. Because it's just so easy to deal with. It's very predictable in terms of like labor and everything like that. I mean, the only thing that LG really hasn't accounted for here, or I shouldn't say cannot account for here, is the wall in the installation space, right? But other than that, I mean, you order the kit, you get the flight cases, here it is. You throw it together, and it is exactly like a big TV. You're exactly right. So if you're looking to get into direct view LED, this is an excellent first step. Hit up Carol Mathis or your salesperson, and they'll get you squared away.
Absolutely. I've got some integrators that have done a lot with DV LED, and frankly, when they say it's in this size, there's only one call to make. So they
I
have
love that.
shifted all of their purchases over to LG DV LED all in one. So
as an engineer, it's certainly taking quite a bit of work off of my desk because it no longer requires a bunch of design and considerations or something like that. It's all been thought out. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yep. So shifting into like LCD type video walls, right? Or some different signage, maybe stretch, maybe transparent. We got kiosks, we got all kinds of different things. Again, what do you need to see? Where do we need to see it? The transparent OLED or LEDs actually, really catching on right now as well. That stretch has some different spaces like, above lockers, above, exit signs, things like that. So yeah, some different ideas there. And so then, moving into the Create board specifically, I know you mentioned that earlier, Joe, and that is definitely our large product for classrooms, 55 inch to 98 inch, Android 13 with EDLA certification coming soon, which will actually allow you just to have a, Google App Store on your display. Full lineup of, great training. We can, work with Windows, Chrome, or Apple. and really just allows them to be very flexible in the classroom and figure out, what is how does the teacher need to teach and how the kids need to learn, right? So it's a fantastic solution there. I'm going to dive into that. I think, again, is actually interoperable. So cloud-based with your different LMS systems. It does work with the legacy software as well. And then CreateBoard Lab is actually, if you wanted to create lessons, import, lessons, that type of thing, that allows you to do that as well. So it is a very universal platform. And it also comes with you have an option to either purchase a Windows or a Chrome OPS. So in those environments that are largely Chrome and they want to be able to manage everything with the Chrome console, this allows you to do that as well.
Super important to note that. I'm sorry to jump in there. I know in the education space, the integration with all those platforms is so critical. So certainly for the folks out there that are working with those partners or maybe perusing those bids, we know those are out there. This is an applicable solution that works in all of those applications. So, if you see a brand on a bid spec that you're not familiar with or something like that, here's a substitute that will tick those boxes. So if you're not familiar with it, certainly do become.
That's a great point. So, yep. And we have found that a lot of bid specs have one particular brand, but they are open. So something to think about. Also, with this board, you can work with like Balance Box or Joro or something like that, maybe, or if you needed a different cart that can lay it flat like a table. There's those types of integration, but then also you can remove the OS. So I have a couple of museums that have removed the OS so they can, take advantage of the touch, but it doesn't actually get, it works better with the Bright Sign digital player, for example.
Sure.
We'll move into talking about laptops. Super thin, light. I carry a 16-inch laptop, and I forget that it's in my backpack. So I think Sarah said earlier we have 40 different SKUs just for laptops. vPro, if that's important to your customer, Windows 10, Windows 11, whatever you might need. I keep getting asked the question about an i9 processor coming soon, and so it's that type of very robust solution set. We do also have a very wide, robust portfolio for thin clients, so desktops, all-in-ones, or mobile thin clients as well. So a couple of different ways to kind of get the message that you need in your hands there. And then our monitors pair up very nicely, again, on the esports side, ultra fine displays, whatever you might need. The dual up monitor is a pretty unique solution. The ergo stands, I've got a lot of customers that are buying those. But probably our big eye catcher is our 49-inch ultra wide, which runs right around $1,000, I think. And it's just absolutely beautiful. You can have two different inputs, and it's a beautiful monitor. Projectors.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
I just wanted to speak quick to my experiences. I have run some of the ultra wides actually with my PC in my office, stacked on top of one another. So they're already super wide. Having two of them and stacking those on top of one another really gave me it was a dual monitor setup kind of on steroids, and that I miss having that kind of screen real estate. That's for sure, especially in a situation like this where I'm on a couple laptops. Kerry, I just wanted to, before you jump into projectors, we had a question come in about the displays a little bit, if I may inject that. Since we missed the chat, but we had Doug ask if, with regard to the displays, if you can speak a little bit to the difference between the commercial or consumer and the commercial products, versus what you might find at a Best Buy store or something like that.
No, I appreciate that. So consumer versus commercial, a couple of big things are really important in there. But I'd say probably the number one is the warranty. LG, like many other manufacturers, if you put a consumer model into a non-consumer environment, you could void the warranty. So that is something to consider. The other thing too is all of our commercial displays come with a 3-year warranty, and we can extend that out to 5 years here in the U.S. And that's whether it's the all-in-one DV LED or a lot of the large digital signage or even the laptops and monitors. We can go out to the 5-year warranty. I don't know on the consumer side how far that can go. The other thing too is just think about the different components that are inside. Again, they're built more for the enterprise level, and so you're going to deal with more durable interior components. So a couple of different things. There is a different build. It could be actually different glass. So there's a lot of different things to really consider when you're thinking, do I need to just buy the cheap thing from a big box retailer, or should we go with a good commercial display?
And I think we all know that's kind of almost pointed right at the end users directly, who I know, when you're in an integration situation, they're often looking at it going, well, it's a TV. Why does this one cost this and this one cost that? Power supply is a big one. You were talking about the components being different. The commercial displays are designed to operate for longer periods of time, maybe 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, or 24/7, or whatever the case may be, depending on the model. But all those things definitely make it worth the money. So shout out, Doug. Great question. Thanks for that. Projectors, which, whatever. I was just stunned. So I'm still learning quite a bit about LG projectors as well, because I did not realize we could get these at the time, and so I'm excited about these. Tell us a little bit about the projectors.
Yep. And so I want to kind of start off with actually, I didn't know this until very recently, but we just took the #1 position for 4K projectors globally. Not in the US yet, but globally. So that's quite an accomplishment for our international colleagues. But we do have, up to 7,000 lumens, down to like I think it's 4,000 lumens. We do have like a handheld type portable projector. So if you just need something to pop into a conference room from time to time, for example, but a pretty robust lineup on the projectors as well. And the big thing too is they're all laser. We do have 4K options, but with the brightness that you get in the room, you could actually, again, 7,000 lumens with 4K could stack up nicely against maybe a higher lumen without 4K. So just kind of something to think about. We have actually started winning quite a bit here in the US as well as a result. Different courthouses that I've worked with and a couple of different spaces. I think projectors still definitely have their space when it comes to how are you going to mount that? What does the wall need to look like, for example, when it's not in use? So there's definitely, I think, a big move away from projectors in a lot of spaces, but they definitely have an environment where they need to be. Almost everything I've talked about, like the large digital signage, the DV LED, all-in-one, several of the different things actually fall into our web OS. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that. It allows for easy integration expansion with an intuitive user interface. You can actually bring in various solutions and, it provides, easy monitoring. If you have any type of different software that you're working with, that can work on WebOS, it actually facilitates that. So that is our operating system on a lot of the displays. And again, from projectors, DV LED, Joe mentioned earlier about like 24/7 rated displays, outdoor displays, etc. You can have everything on one platform with the WebOS signage. Questions on that?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we did get a question on that. And this actually came from social media. So somebody responded to the announcement of this, and I don't know if the person who asked it is in here or not. So, thanks to them if they are. But we did get a question wondering if LG works in terms of digital signage. Does LG work with other digital signage platforms, specifically, like Userful, Bright Sign? I know Signage Live is another big one. What does integration for that look like, and is it available?
Great question. So absolutely available. And there's a lot of companies that actually build just for WebOS, or they have a WebOS option. And we end up working with, so I have an ecosystem solutions engineering team that can actually help you figure out what the display is, what's the right software to actually load on the display. To actually facilitate some of that, or he just works with the relationships with, BrightSign, Userful, Apashore, AppSpace. There's 22 Mile. Just the list is pretty extensive. I didn't include that in like kind of a link here, but if you actually look like Google search on LG WebOS software, I think it'll pop up, kind of a pretty lengthy list of a lot of the different companies that we work with. RGB Spectrum, I can't forget them, So, I mean, again, the list just kind of goes on and on of the different companies that we work with and interoperate with. Again, at the end of the day, you got to have a good screen. You really got to have good software, good content, good templates, and a really good integration partner to make everything happen.
Awesome. Great question. Thank you for addressing that. And, happy to report that LG pretty much works with, if they don't work with them now, they will, right? You can. So
one of the things too that I've seen, like I brought forth a different partner and a different software partner to that team, and we've actually been able to create part of our kiosk at Kokomo 24/7. They've been able to create like a visitor check-in, lobby management type solution. So that's actually really cool for our kiosk, our brand new kiosk that we announced last year. So again, we'll look for different partners. Different partners will come to us, and again, we'll continue to figure out how we can work together to accomplish that mission. So awesome. I want to kind of leave you with a couple of different things. So this sheet here, feel free to take a picture or whatever you need. If you want me to email it to you, we can. But this gives you a lot of different resources from LG. So everything from downloads, marketing information, video wall configurators, a lot of different things here that would be very helpful as you're looking at designing the space and figuring out what the customer needs. Probably your number one resource is probably your LG team or your Starin team. So we do work very closely together. And as you can tell, based on Joe's interjections here, he definitely knows a lot about LG, more than he's letting on. So he's DVLAD certified and I'm not yet. So what does that tell you?
We got to get you there. Carol taught me everything I know. So,
The last time they asked me to go to Chicago, it was like January 5th. And I'm like, no, not going.
So. I might have had a similar conversation with my company, but maybe I shouldn't put that on right now. I'm teasing. Wintertime's a tough time. Call me. Right. Yeah, that's a time to show up. I think too. I think we can send this slide specifically that has these links out. We can send it to everybody on the list following this. So keep an eye out for that. We'd be happy to do that. We're coming into the last couple minutes here. So please, as Kerry Linda wraps this up and we close this up, if you've got any remaining questions, go ahead and throw them down.
Last thing I want to invite you guys, anybody wants to come, if you're in the area, please come by. Let's schedule some time at the showroom with you and your customers. I do have a lot of different events that I do at Atlanta. I've had people fly in, drive in from all over the Southeast to Atlanta, Chicago, New Jersey, and of course, Los Angeles. So those are some different sites that you can come visit us at, see some of the different technologies, and really just kind of get a better feel for LG. Joe, is there any other questions that have come in? Or
no, that was it. That was it. I want to say thank you to you, and I know Sarah as well. Where can we find you? Are you on LinkedIn? Just email is the best way to get a hold of you. Are you out there on the internet?
Great question. Take my QR code. So
there we go. Let me get this up on the screen here.
Yep.
Got it. Awesome. So if you want to get a hold of Kerry Linda, specifically, Kerry Linda, you work in government and education verticals, but
in the Southeast. Yep.
In the Southeast. Thank you. Yeah, the team here at Starin. If you've got questions, hit up your sales rep. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Carol. We'll be happy to help you out. And, if we're not the right folks to talk to, if Kerry Linda isn't the exact right person to talk to, we can get the exact right person to talk to and get you connected.
Who it is who can help. So
yeah, exactly. Kerry Linda, thanks so much for being on. The very last piece of the puzzle here, as we do at the end of all these, we're coming to the last few minutes here. We got a gift card winner, and I get to know ahead of time, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. Congratulations to Claudine Anderson. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for joining us. And as Carrie Linda said, thanks so much for joining us. Keep an eye out and make sure you register for the next one, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.